I blew out the 25 candles on that sad excuse for a birthday cake. The kind from the discount aisle at Jewel Osco with frosting that tasted like regret, and wished for a goddamn miracle because my life was a black hole sucking in every dream I'd ever had. Grandpa Joe, wheezing like an old radiator in the corner of our cramped Chicago bungalow, locked eyes with me across the room and croaked, "Kenzie, come here, before these vultures pick your bones clean." That's when he shoved the envelope into my hands, his liver-spotted fingers trembling, and whispered words that shattered my world. "They didn't just steal your money, kid. They stole your whole damn life. You ain't their blood, you're mine. And they've been lying about it since the day you screamed your first breath." The room spun like I'd chugged a bottle of Tito's on an empty stomach. My mom, Linda, with her peroxide blonde bob and that fake laugh she trotted out for neighbors, froze mid-sip of her box Merlot, her eyes darting to Dad, who was suddenly very interested in scraping the last crumbs off his paper plate. Grandpa's envelope burned in my grip, the kind of thick manila thing that screams lawsuit, or inheritance, or your world's about to implode. I tore it open right there, in front of the sagging sectional we'd had since the Clinton administration. Papers spilling out like confetti from hell. Birth certificates. Hospital records from Cook County General dated February 14th, 2000, Valentine's Day. Because why not make the lie poetic? And a trust fund statement staring back at me like a middle finger from fate. $3 million. Set up by Grandpa Joe for his granddaughter, the one born to his daughter Evelyn, who died in a car wreck 3 days after giving birth. Evelyn's baby, me, supposedly, had been switched at the hospital nursery with a sickly kid from the low-income ward. That sickly kid? The one my parents took home and named Kenzie Harper. No. Wait. The record said the trust was for Kenzie Evelyn Walsh, biological daughter of Evelyn and her husband, both gone now, with Grandpa as executor. But here's the gut punch. The switch wasn't some cosmic oops. Hospital logs showed a nurse on the night shift, paid off, the investigation notes hinted, had done the deed at the behest of a desperate couple looking to start fresh after their own baby came out with defects that would have bankrupted them. That couple? Linda and Tom Harper, my so-called mom and dad. They knew. They'd known since I was 5. When Grandpa's private eye sniffed it out during a routine estate check. Instead of telling me, instead of giving me back my life, they buried it. Drained the trust down to scraps over the years. Private schools for my sister Riley, their bio kid, born later. Vacations to Florida they called family bonding. Dad's gambling debts in Vegas that he swore were investments. $3 million. Funneled through shell accounts, leaving me with student loans from community college and a barista gig at a Starbucks that paid in stale pastries. I looked up, the papers crumpling in my fists, and all I could choke out was, "You bastards. You raised me on food stamps while you sipped pina coladas in Orlando." Mom's face crumpled like wet Kleenex, crocodile tears. I'd learn later, and she wailed, "Kenzie, honey, we did it for you. The real you was broken. We gave you a chance." Dad just grunted, his beer gut heaving. "World's cruel, kid. We made it work." Grandpa coughed, a wet rattle that said stage 4 lung cancer, didn't give a shit about family drama, and slapped a key into my palm. "Cabin up in Wisconsin. Go there tonight. Everything you need to make em pay is waiting." "But Kenzie, it's dark what I left you. Once you open that door, there's no going back." I didn't say goodbye. I grabbed my thrift store coat, the one with the hole in the pocket where my dreams leaked out, and bolted into the February sleet slashing down on Pulaski Road. The L train rattled overhead like Judgment Day, and I sat there, numb, watching the city lights blur into neon accusations. Betrayal doesn't hit like a freight train. It's slower. A poison seeping into your veins, turning love to acid. By the time I hit the Greyhound station, I'd replayed every tough love lecture, every money doesn't grow on trees bullshit line, and realized they'd gagged me with my own innocence. Me. The golden ticket they cashed in and burned. The cabin was a relic, tucked off Highway 12 in the piney bowels of Kettle Moraine State Forest, the kind of place that smells like damp wood and forgotten summers. Grandpa's old Ford pickup was still in the drive, keys under the mat like he trusted the universe not to screw him over completely. Inside, it was a time capsule, faded photos of Evelyn, young and laughing with auburn hair like mine, a stone fireplace stacked with birch logs, and on the kitchen table, a leather-bound journal next to a sleek black case that looked like it belonged in a Bond flick. I cracked the journal first, Grandpa's scrawl. Shaky but fierce. They took you from me. Kenzie. Switched you like a bad bet. I hunted for years. Lawyered up. But those Harpers? Slippery as Lake Michigan ice. Buried the truth deeper than Jimmy Hoffa. The fund was your birthright, Evelyn's last gift. They bled it dry. But I saved one bullet in the chamber. The device. Christ. I shouldn't have built it. DARPA scraps. Black market neural tech from Silicon Valley ghosts. Body-mind transitron. I called it. Swap souls. Not bodies, minds. Essences. 15 minutes to calibrate. 1 hour active. Use it on them. Live their skins from the inside. Make them feel the rot they planted in you. But, kid, revenge ain't justice. It's a mirror that cracks your soul. My hands shook as I flipped open the case. Inside, a matte black helmet rigged with wires like veins. A tablet interface glowing with prompts. Subject A, target acquisition. Consent bypass. Active. No consent needed, Grandpa's ethical bypass. Cooked up in grief-fueled madness. The screen mapped neural signatures from DNA samples he'd swiped, hair from Mom's brush, nail clippings from Dad's workbench. It promised to let me slip into their heads, puppet their days, whisper sabotages only they could hear. Controversial? Hell. It was Frankenstein shit. Illegal as a back-alley abortion. But the thought of Mom waking up in her Pottery Barn sheets, my voice in her skull hissing, "How's it feel to fake a life?" It lit a fire in my gut that the Chicago cold couldn't touch. I spent the night pacing the creaky floors, the wind howling like Evelyn's ghost urging me on. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, and I drove back south. The device humming in the passenger seat like a demon cooing promises. First target, Mom. She was the architect, the one who'd sobbed to social workers about miracle babies while pocketing escrow checks. I'd start small, slip in during her yoga class, make her accidentally confess to the instructor about the switch, watch the gossip ripple through the neighborhood like a stone in the lagoon. But as the skyline loomed, doubt gnawed. Was I becoming them? Stealing lives to reclaim mine? Screw it. The hook was set. They'd reeled me in for 25 years. Time to yank the line. Pulling into the driveway of the Harper house, my prison for a quarter century, felt like creeping up on a sleeping bear. The place had gotten a facelift on my dime, new siding in that bullshit beige. A 2-car garage for Dad's F-150 that he'd earned through overtime lies. And Mom's Prius parked like a trophy for her green juice virtue signaling. Riley's Beamer was there too. The little princess home from Northwestern for the weekend. Oblivious to the empire built on my stolen bones. I parked down the block. Helmet tucked in a duffel. heart jackhammering against my ribs. The tablet synced in seconds, biometric lock bypassed with Grandpa's retinal scan he'd programmed in. God rest his chain-smoking soul. Initiating transference, it chirped, clinical as a DMV robot. I slipped the crown on, the prongs biting into my scalp like eager fangs, and selected Mom's profile. Neural bridge forming.
3, 2, 1.
The world dissolved in a vertigo rush, like falling off the Willis Tower without a net. No pain, just a disorienting whoosh. And suddenly I was her. Linda Harper, mid-downward dog in the sunlit studio on Addison. Her spandex-clad thighs burning from yesterday's wine binge. The instructor's voice droning about, releasing toxins. But inside her head, my thoughts, sharp as broken glass. Holy shit. It worked. I could feel the echo of her memories, flashes of the nursery swap, the blood money envelope from the nurse, the first guilty deposit into their joint account. And layered over it, my rage, pure and volcanic. I straightened up too fast, knocking over a water bottle, and the class turned. Linda, you okay? The instructor cooed, all Lululemon concern. Yeah, I said, but it came out in Mom's nasal twang, syrupy with that South Side accent she faked to fit in. Just remembered something I gotta tell someone. The words tumbled out before I could stop them. My mouth. Her lips. You know, like how I switched babies at the hospital back in '99. Paid a nurse $2,000 to grab the healthy one from the rich ward. That kid? My daughter, Kenzie?
She's not mine.
She's some heiress we robbed blind. The studio went pin-drop silent, yoga mats crinkling as jaws hit the floor. A phone whipped out, Instagram Live. Because of course, and I watched the confession ripple outward in real time. Mom's face flushing crimson under my control. Inside, I laughed, a dark cackle that echoed in her skull alone. Feel that, Linda? That's the truth you buried, clawing its way up. The transference timer ticked, 45 minutes left. I bailed on class, her Volvo eating up Michigan Avenue as I headed home, her hands gripping the wheel white-knuckled. Memories flooded in waves, her justifying it to Dad over cheap Kieni. Tommy? The kid was gonna die anyway, congenital heart shit. We're giving her a life. But the fund? That was greed pure. Siphoning tuition for Riley. Medical for Dad's bad back from construction scams. I pulled into the drive. Riley lounging on the porch, scrolling TikTok. Dad tinkering with the grill like a king in his castle. Mom, you're back early, Riley said, not looking up. Mom smiled, but my eyes burned. Sweetie, pack a bag. We're selling this house. And the Beamer. All of it. Turns out, we've been living a lie. Her head snapped up. What the hell? Dad lumbered over, wiping grease on his jeans. Linda, you hit your head or something? I stepped close enough to smell his Old Spice regret, and whispered, or something. Like how you two drained $3 million from a trust that wasn't yours. Kenzie's birthday gift from her real family? His face drained of color. A fish flopping on dry dock. Riley gasped, backing away like I'd sprouted horns, which, in Mom's body, maybe I had. The argument exploded, Dad roaring about protecting the family, Riley sobbing, this is crazy. Mom's possessed, and I let it burn, fanning the flames with half-truths pulled from Mom's guilt-riddled subconscious. By the time the transference snapped back, yanking me into my own skin like a rubber band to the face. The neighbors were peeking through blinds, and sirens wailed distant. Someone had called the cops on the domestic disturbance. I watched from the shadows across the street, slumped in the rental car Grandpa had stashed at the cabin. As squad cars pulled up,
Mom.
dazed and babbling about intruders in my head, got the psych eval. Dad lawyered up, screaming about slander. Riley fled to a friend's. The golden child cracked. Satisfaction curled in my chest, warm as bourbon. But it soured quick. Grandpa's warning echoed. Revenge is a mirror. I cracked theirs, but mine's spiderweb too. What if Riley was innocent? What if the swap saved me from Evelyn's cursed lineage, car wrecks, cancer? The Walsh family ghosts Grandpa hinted at in yellowed clippings?
Nah.
They chose to keep the lie. Chose the cash over confession. Phase 2, Dad. The puppet master. The one who'd forged the withdrawal slips. The mountebank with the poker face. That night, under a moon like a scabbed-over wound, I geared up again. The device recalibrated faster this time. Hungry almost. It's AI learning my neural spikes. Dad was at his VFW hall haunt, nursing a bud and bullshitting about nom stories he bought off a real vet for bar cred. I slipped in seamless, his buzz cut itching under the non-existent helmet. The smoky haze of camel lights and regret thickening the air. His buddies slapped his back. Tommy boy, you look like you've seen a ghost. I grinned with his yellowed teeth.
Worse.
I seen the devil we made a deal with. The bar went quiet, stools creaking. I laid it out, every deposit, every lie. The nurse's name, Gloria Metzger. Dead now from an overdose. Coincidence my ass. We stole a kid's life.
Boys.
Swapped her for our lemon. Then robbed her blind. 3 mil. Gone on lotto tickets and lake houses. Phones out again. Videos firing off to ex-cops and busybody wives. One guy, an old PD detective nursing a Boilermaker, narrowed his eyes. Harper, you confessin' to fraud? Identity theft? That's Fed time.
Pal.
The transference held as chaos erupted, fists flying. Dad's body taking a haymaker to the jaw that I didn't dodge because why not let him bruise? His memories hit harder than the punch. The night of the switch. Rain lashing the hospital windows. Mom hemorrhaging after a stillborn. The nurse's whisper. For $5,000. I got a live one for ya, healthy. No questions. Desperation. Not malice at first. But the fund? That was malice blooming. Dad hacking accounts with a cousin in IT. Mom shopping at Neiman's guilt-free. I felt his love for me. The raised Kenzie, twisted into possession. Like I was the defective one they fixed. It humanized him, just enough to twist the knife deeper. As cops dragged him out in zip ties, bellowing, it ain't true. Someone's framing me. I yanked back to my body, collapsing against a lamppost blocks away. Vomit rising like bile from the soul swap. The news hit by morning. Chicago Tribune online blaring local couple accused of baby switch scandal. Multi-million fraud. My phone blew up. Reporters. Distant cousins I'd never met. Riley's frantic texts. Kenzie, WTF is happening? I ghosted them all. Holing up at the cabin with takeout lo mein and the device's schematics. Grandpa's journal had more. The text unstable after multiple uses. Risk of bleed. Where thoughts leak permanent. Don't let it own you. Too late. The high was addictive. That God-complex rush of puppeteering lives you'd bleed for. But crack showed, headaches like ice picks. Dreams where Mom's voice begged in my sleep. And Dad, out on bail. Lawyered to the hilt. The cunning bastard already spinning it as extortion by a disgruntled daughter. He was fighting back, calling PIs, digging into grandpa's suicide, cancer, but whispers of foul play. Time to escalate. One more swap. The big one. Both of them. Tandem. Controversial as hell, the device could handle dual links. But ethics? Burned with the midnight oil. The headaches came in waves now, like migraines scripted by a sadist. Each throb pulsing with borrowed memories, Mom's first affair with the accountant who cooked the books. Dad's backroom deals at the Union Hall. The way they'd toast at Christmas with spiked eggnog. Clinking glasses to our little secret. It blurred the lines. Who was Kenzie Harper? The barista with calloused hands and a chip on her shoulder. And who was the ghost of Evelyn Walsh? Heiress robbed? The cabin walls closed in. Pine panels whispering judgments. So, I hit the road again. Device in tow. Aiming for the Harper's lakeside cottage in Michigan. Irony's gift. Bought with trust scraps. They'd fled their post-arrest. Holing up like rats in a storm drain. Dad's calls to me going unanswered. Voicemails thick with that faux paternal gravel. Kenzie. Baby. Come talk. It's all a misunderstanding. I arrived at dusk. The lake a black mirror reflecting storm clouds boiling over Lake Michigan. The cottage squatted on a bluff. Twinkly lights strung like lies across the deck. Riley's car absent, smart girl. Lawyering up at school. I parked in the woods, humping the duffel through brambles that snagged like accusatory fingers. The device whirred to life on the porch shadows. Tablet screen fracturing light. Dual transference protocol engaged. Risk. Neural overlap 47%. Proceed. My finger hovered. Sweat beading despite the chill. Controversial didn't cover it. This was playing God with a chainsaw, potentially frying their synapses or mine. But the betrayal? It festered. A wound suppurating pus of what-ifs. What if they'd told me at 18, handed over the keys to Walsh Wealth, college at Yale, not loop night classes. A life unpoisoned by their greed. Fuck hesitation. I jammed the prongs home. Proceeding. The dual swap hit like a double-barreled shotgun, two realities colliding in my skull. There I was, splintered, in Mom, curled on the couch with a Xanax haze. Netflix droning true crime irony, in Dad, pacing the kitchen, phone glued to his ear lawyering damage control. Their minds reeled at the intrusion. A psychic scream I muffled like a gag. Easy, folks. It's story time. I synced their bodies first, made Mom stand, poured out a scotch with hands that shook like aspen leaves. Himi stared as she approached, her eyes mine, wild and accusatory. Tommy, she said in that twang, we gotta end it. Call the feds. Confess. Give Kenzie what's left. His jaw dropped. Scotch sloshing. Linda, you lost it? That device. It's her. Ain't it? The old man's voodoo helmet. I pushed harder, their wills buckling like wet cardboard. Memories cascaded, the nurse's payoff in a Wrigleyville dive. Dad's fists clenched as he drove home with me, bundled in the back. The first trust alert pinging their inbox, euphoria turning to conspiracy. We earned this, Mom's echo pleaded in her head.
No.
I snarled inwardly. You stole it. I marched Dad's body to the deck, Mom trailing like a zombie bride, the lake wind whipping her robe. Look at it, Tom, I made her say, voice cracking. That water? Deeper than our sins. We drowned her life in it. He lunged, panic flashing, his real self fighting the strings, but I locked his muscles, forcing him to the railing. "Kenzie," he bellowed. "My name a curse. Stop this. We loved you."
Loved.
Past tense. Always had been. I laughed through both throats. A dissonant duet that chilled even me. The sabotage kicked in. I had Mom dial the Tribune tip line. Spilling coordinates for buried evidence, the nurse's old ledger, stashed in their crawl space, with payoffs initialed H&H. Dad's phone? I texted Riley attachments, bank statements, the works, captioned run.
Cease.
They're toxic. Sirens in the distance, neighbors again. Or my anonymous 911. The overlap intensified. Their thoughts bleeding into mine. Mom's regret. A genuine shard. I wanted a girl like Evelyn's perfect. Dad's defiance. World eats the weak. We just bit back. It humanized the monsters. Made the revenge taste like ash. Timer at 10 minutes. I amped it, forcing them into a grotesque waltz on the deck. Confessions tumbling. We paid off the hospital admin. The fund went to Riley's tuition. Our real blood. Controversial? I just puppeteered a public breakdown, teetering on assault charges. The snapback was brutal. A psychic whiplash hurling me to the dirt, while erupting as the device overheated. Sparks flying like fireworks from hell. I crawled to the car, vision tunneling, their screams echoing in my ears, real or residual. By midnight, the news cycle devoured it. Baby switch suspects confess in apparent breakdown. Feds raid cottage. Mom and Dad carted off in ambulances. Delusional per the cops. But the ledger surfaced.
Airtight.
Riley disowned them publicly on Insta, tagging me. At Kenzie Harper, call me. We need to talk family. The high crashed into abyss, euphoria to emptiness. Grandpa's journal mocked from the dash. Twist comes when you see yourself in the villain. Was I? The device cooled, but my soul scorched. One more play. Confront the root. Grandpa's secrets weren't all told. Clippings hinted at Evelyn's wreck not being accident. Insurance fraud? Or worse, to secure the trust early?
Nah.
Paranoia. But the headaches whispered otherwise. Back in Chicago, the city pulsed indifferent, L-tracks rumbling like veins under skin. I crashed at a no-tell on Division, the kind with roaches the size of chihuahuas. Device hidden under the sagging mattress. Dreams that night were a funhouse, me as Mom, birthing the stillborn, as Dad, counting blood-stained bills, as Evelyn, swerving on black ice. A shadow car, Grandpa's Lincoln, ramming her off the road. I woke screaming, sheets soaked, the tablet beeping low battery. Charge it, or smash it. The pull was magnetic, power. The great American drug. But cracks deepened. Mirrors showed my face thinning. Eyes hollow like Dad's after a bender. Neural bleed. Real as the rain sluicing the window. Morning brought a knock. Riley, drenched and desperate. 19 and fierce in Uggs, and a Barber jacket that screamed, trust fund light. Kenzie.
Please.
They're saying demonic possession or some shit. But the files. It's true?
Your.
Not ours. I let her in. The room reeking of despair and takeout Thai. She collapsed on the bed, sobbing the ugly kind that racks your chest. I knew something was off. Mom's charity stories, Dad's rages. But you? My big sis. Not blood, but bone deep. I spilled it all, the swap, the device, the swaps that gutted them. Her eyes widened, not horror, but hunger. Then use it on me. Show me what they felt. I need to know why. Controversial fork. Induct the innocent into madness? Or alone forever? I nodded. The devil's bargain. As the prongs bit, Riley's mind opened like a bruise, youthful, unscarred, but laced with their lies. Overhearing whispers at 12. Kenzie's the meal ticket. The transference held gentle this time. A bridge, not a battering ram. We swapped light, her in my skin, tasting poverty's grit, me in hers, the silk of privilege chafing. Feel it, I murmured in her head. That's what they denied me, she gasped back. God.
Kenzie, I'm sorry. But. Grandpa?
The clippings in the journal, Evelyn's crash. He was driving the other car. Riley's words hung in the ether of the swap, a bombshell detonating mid-transference. Her borrowed voice in my head cracking like thunder. I found his emails, archived on the cabin server. Accident, my ass. Grandpa rammed her to protect the bloodline from her unstable marriage. The trust? Backdated to cover it. The overlap shattered early, spitting us back with a screech of feedback. Both of us retching on the motel's threadbare carpet, the device smoking like it had mainlined meth. Riley wiped her mouth, eyes feral. He killed your mom, our aunt, or whatever, to keep the money clean. And the switch? He orchestrated that too. Paid the nurse to plant you in the Harpers. Test if nurture beats nature. You were his lab rat. Kenzie. The fund? Bait. My world inverted again. The revenge I'd orchestrated curdling to complicity.
Grandpa.
The avenging angel? A Machiavellian puppeteer. Strings attached to my veins. We burned rubber to the cabin. Riley's shotgun. The tablet jury-rigged with her poli-sci smarts to hack Grandpa's encrypted drive. Files unspooled like a bad noir reel. Evelyn's psych evals, bipolar tendencies. Her husband's gambling debts. Grandpa's memos. Eliminate variables. Place the heir in adversity. Forge resilience or cull weakness. The switch was his Hail Mary. Swap the pure Walsh blood into a working-class crucible. Monitor via PIs. Drain the trust through proxies to toughen the facade. The Harpers? Unwitting pawns at first. Then greedy opportunists who blackmailed him silent. My swaps? The device wasn't mercy. It was his final experiment. Logging my neural data to complete the thesis on identity. He died knowing, Riley spat, slamming the laptop. Left you the gun to shoot yourself. Betrayal squared. Parents stole my money. But blood stole my origin. The cunning antagonist crystallized. Not mom or dad, but Grandpa's ghost. Power eternal in code and cash. Tension coiled like a spring. Cops circling the Harpers. Feds sniffing fraud. But now us. Holding dynamite. Controversial call. Expose him? Torch the cabin? Device and all? Bury the rot? Or weaponize it, one last swap. Into his echo. Via archived neural scan Grandpa idiotically included. For posterity, the files sneered. Riley begged off. Too dark. Kenzie. We're not monsters. But I was already pronging up. The headache a crown of thorns. Watch the logs. If I don't come back clean, pull the plug. The transference plunged deep. No timer this time, permanent risk. Bleed inevitable. Into Grandpa's mind, a vast, echoing vault of regrets and rationales. His deathbed wheeze narrating the real. I was him, at 70, puttering the cabin workshop. Evelyn's photo on the mantel like a talisman. But layered. My fury, 25 years of ramen dinners. Job rejections. The ache of being less. You broke me to build what? A steel-hearted heir? His thoughts resisted. A dam of denial, for the family legacy. Evelyn's weakness would have squandered it. I pushed, forcing his body to the fireplace. Logs crackling judgment. The sabotage was intimate, dialing the DA's tip line from his old rotary, still plugged. Sentimental fool. Confessing in his gravel timbre. Joe Walsh here. The accident in '99? No skid marks. I clipped her tire. Staged the drunk. And the baby? My doing. To hide the scandal. Trust fund? Laundered through stooges. Tell Kenzie, sorry, don't cut it. The call connected. A junior prosecutor yawning awake. Sir? This a prank.
No prank.
I growled. His voice mine. Audit the Walsh estate. It's rotten. Chaos cascaded. Alarms on the server. Riley's frantic unplug yanking me mid-sentence. But the damage seeded. Back in flesh. I convulsed. Grandpa's emphysema ghosting my lungs. His arthritis knotting my knuckles. Permanent bleed, his idioms slipping into my speech. Tough as nails. Kid. Unbidden. Riley hugged me fierce. You did it. He's exposed. But the high soured fast, sirens converging on the cabin. Choppers thumping overhead. Feds, or Walsh cousins. Legacy sharks smelling chum? We fled into the woods. Device ditched in the lake. A stone splash goodbye. The climax crested on Highway 12. State troopers boxing us in. Lights strobing like a migraine halo. Kenzie Harper? Step out. Hands up. Dad's influence? Or Grandpa's web unspooling? I complied. Riley mirroring. The cold cuffs a perverse homecoming. Interrogation at the Milwaukee field office was a pressure cooker, G-men in off-racks grilling us on the swaps. The confessions. The wreck. Mind control? That's sci-fi horseshit. One snorted. But the logs Riley'd emailed pre-bust? Ironclad. Grandpa's neural scan matched the device's imprint on Mom and Dad's MRIs. Transference residue. The tech geek called it. Pale as milk. The Harpers, released on technicals, lawyered into oblivion. But the real quake hit the Wallishes, estate frozen. Headlines screaming, billionaire patriarch's dark legacy, murder, fraud, babies swap empire,
Mom and Dad.
in a twist of karmic fuckery. Turned state's evidence. Joe forced our hand. They whined on 60 Minutes. Rehabbed into victims. Riley and I, material witnesses. Cut loose with psych evals and NDAs that gagged deeper than their lies. But the tension peaked in a holding pen meet. Dad. Orange jumpsuit gaunt. Pressing the glass. Kenzie. We were pawns. Forgive.
His eyes.
My puppeteered puppets once. Now pleading. Controversial urge. Smash the divider. Or walk. I leaned in. Pawns play the game too. Rot in there.
Mom.
Separate booth. Sobbed makeup rivers. I loved you. In my way. Your ways sucked. I thought. But aloud. Keep the scraps. By ramen. Walking out. Riley linked arms, sister by choice now. Blood be damned. The revenge crested. But hollow. A peak without summit view. Freedom tasted like stale coffee from a Keurig in witness protection limbo, a safe house in the Wisconsin burbs. Riley and I bunking like fugitives in a sitcom. Trading war stories over DoorDash pad thai. The news cycle chewed and spat, Grandpa's empire crumbling. Walsh stocks tanking on scandal stink, cousins suing each other like hyenas on a corpse. The remaining trust, scraps after audits. Maybe $500K, wired to a new account in my name. Kenzie Walsh now. Legally rechristened. Mom and Dad? Plea deals. 5 years white collar in Club Fed. Emerging as podcastos on Redemption Road, peddling their sob story for Patreon bucks. Controversial? Listeners ate it up. Forgive and forget, trolls bayed. While Reddit threads debated if I was the real villain. Mind-raping my folks for clicks. The bleed lingered. A low hum. Grandpa's stoicism stealing my spine during depositions. His paranoia making me triple-check locks. Dreams blended. Evelyn's laugh in Mom's voice. Dad's grunt in Riley's quips. Therapy. Mandated. Unpacked the rot. You sought justice? Kenzie. But revenge refracts.
Yeah. Doc.
Tell me something I don't neural scan. Riley thrived. Law school deferred for a tell-all book deal. Switch Souls, a memoir of stolen lives. Her agent gushing. Oprah potential. Me? I ghosted the spotlight. Took the cash to a dingy loft in Pilsen. Murals screaming color against my gray. A job at a nonprofit. Auditing estates for vulnerable heirs. Ironies wink. Dates fizzled. How do you swipe right when your origin story's a Dateline episode? The twist inverted everything 6 months, post-bust. A manila envelope sliding under my door like déjà vu, and signed. Postmarked Milwaukee. Inside, a USB drive. Labeled the real variable. Plugged in. Grandpa's face filled the screen. Gaunt from chemo. Speaking to the lens like a confessional. If you're watching, Kenzie. The experiment's endgame hit. I didn't murder Evelyn. She staged the wreck. Insurance scam to bail on the debt. On me. I followed. Tried to stop her. Clipped the fender in panic. Manslaughter. Not malice. The switch? Her idea. Test the kid in the wild. She begged pre-birth. The Harpers? Opportunists? Sure. But I fed M the rope. Watched you swing to toughen you for the boardrooms. His cough racked. Eyes wet. The device? Not for revenge, for empathy. Live their lives.
Forgive. But you.
You chose the blade. The trust? Never hidden, you were meant to earn it. Claw from dirt. Legacy ain't cash, it's scars. The video cut. Files dumping. Evelyn's suicide note. Free the baby from this cage. Unredacted hospital cams showing her bribing the nurse. Truth reversed. The betrayers? All of us. A daisy chain of desperation. Grandpa wasn't puppet master. He was the broken string. Dying to confess. I sat there till dawn. Chicago's pulse mocking through the blinds, horns blaring. Lives intersecting without swaps or schemes. Controversial epiphany. Burn it all? Leak the files? Nuke the remnants? Or bury deeper? Let the debatable ending stand. Heroes. Villains. All smeared gray. I chose the pyre. USB in the sink. Flame from a Zippo Dad had given me at 16. Light your path. Kid. Ashes swirled down the drain. A ritual flush. Riley got the call later. Let it die with him. She agreed. Our bond the one, unswapped truth. Ending? No tidy bow. Mom penned letters from prison. Proud of the woman you became. Despite us. I didn't reply. But didn't shred. Dad? Paroled early for good behavior. Spotted hawking real estate in Florida. Voiceover smooth. Second chances start here. Riley's book flew off shelves. Dedicating to the sister fate forgot, then found. Me? I clawed forward. Scars my currency. Auditing others' ghosts. Happy?
Nah.
That's Hallmark bullshit. But free, soul intact. Mostly. The mirror cracks. But I don't flinch. In America, Revenge is the national pastime. Forgiveness. The upset win. Who's right? Ask the wind off the lake. It don't answer.